Good evening. President Trump has dramatically shifted U.S. policy on Ukraine, authorizing Kyiv to use American-supplied weapons for long-range strikes inside Russia. This marks a major escalation, signaling to Moscow that the rules have changed. The move aims to disrupt Russian military logistics and command centers, giving Ukraine a critical new tool to defend itself. Frustration over the war's stalemate and a desire for a decisive outcome have driven this pivot. For months, Ukraine was restricted from using Western weapons against Russian territory to avoid direct NATO-Russia confrontation. But that's over. The new policy is both a military and political statement. The U.S. is now fully committed to Ukraine's defense, and Russia faces rising costs for its aggression. The hope is that this pressure will force Moscow to reconsider its objectives and open the door to a peace process where Ukraine negotiates from a position of strength. Central to this strategy is the possible supply of Tomahawk cruise missiles to Ukraine. These advanced long-range missiles would be a game-changer, allowing Ukraine to strike deep into Russian territory. European partners would fund the acquisition, showing a united Western front. With a range of 1,500 miles, Tomahawks could threaten key Russian military sites even near Moscow. Russia has downplayed the move, but the psychological impact is clear. Moscow must now defend its own territory. The threat of Tomahawks forces Russia to divert resources from the front, raising the cost of war. Whether Ukraine operates them alone or with U.S. help, the message is unmistakable. Escalation will be met with escalation. The Trump administration hopes this new leverage will shift the balance on the battlefield and at the negotiating table. This policy shift follows months of tense diplomacy and frustration in Washington. A combative meeting between Trump and Zelensky in early 2025 highlighted the limits of existing support. Later, a summit with Putin in Alaska failed to yield results, convincing the administration that diplomacy alone wouldn't change the Kremlin's course. The failure of talks led directly to the decision to authorize long-range strikes and consider Tomahawk missiles. The administration has moved from cautious support to empowered deterrence, aiming to give Ukraine the means to inflict real costs on Russia. Trump now openly supports Ukraine reclaiming all its territory, a major shift from earlier more cautious positions. The new approach is pragmatic. After blocked diplomatic avenues, the U.S. is applying direct military and strategic pressure. The goal is to force Russia to reconsider its war aims and make negotiations more attractive. This is about changing the facts on the ground, not just managing the conflict. Trump's strategy goes beyond military aid, pushing NATO allies to take a tougher stance. He's urged NATO nations to shoot down Russian drones and jets violating their airspace, responding to recent provocations in Poland, Romania, and Estonia. The aim: eliminate ambiguity about NATO's commitment and deter further Russian aggression. On the economic front, Trump is targeting Russia's war funding by pressuring countries like China and India to cut back on Russian oil imports. The administration has already slapped a 50% tariff on Indian goods in response to continued Russian fuel purchases. More punitive measures are on the table if these nations don't curb their energy ties with Moscow. The strategy: make it financially untenable for countries to fund Russia's war effort, isolating Moscow economically. This multi-front approach is designed to squeeze Russia militarily and economically. In summary, Trump's decisions mark a major realignment in U.S. strategy on Ukraine. Authorizing long-range strikes and considering Tomahawk missiles fundamentally changes the nature of U.S. support. The approach, backed by European funding, is meant to impose unbearable costs on Russia and force a strategic reassessment in Moscow. Trump's push for a more assertive NATO and heavy tariffs on Russian oil buyers signals a confrontational, multi-front strategy. For Ukraine, this could break the military stalemate and boost morale, but it also risks further escalation. The world is watching to see if this gamble brings peace or widens the conflict. The coming months will be critical in testing the effectiveness of this new approach. The consequences will shape global politics for years to come.